Welcome to the Head Shepherd Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Ferguson, CEO at Next and Agri International, where we help livestock managers get the best out of their stock. Before we get started, a big thanks to our three fantastic sponsors. Allflex, part of MSD, perhaps better known as Cooper's Animal Health in Australia, offers one of New Zealand and Australia's largest livestock product portfolios with a comprehensive suite of animal health and management products. Heininger is a one-stop shop for wool harvesting and animal fibre removal. The Heininger team have a deep understanding of livestock agriculture, backed by Swiss engineering and a family business dedicated to manufacturing the best. ProA Livestock Equipment have been delivering industry-leading livestock handling systems to producers across Australia, New Zealand and beyond for the last 25 years to improve on-farm safety, efficiency and profitability. We are grateful to our sponsors for their support, helping us bring Head Shepherd to you each week. And now it's time to get on with this week's episode. Welcome back to Head Shepherd. Great to have you listening along. We're only a couple of weeks out from Lamex. Looking forward to that. This week on the show, we feature George Fell. George is chair of the Sheep Breeders Roundtable, and I'm heading there in November this year. So 20th of November through the 22nd, we'll be there with lots of passionate UK breeders, hopefully. So if that's you, love to catch up there. Really looking forward to that. We thought it would be an opportunity to have a talk to George about the roundtable, but also about that conference, but also a lot about his business, which has got many facets to it. Sheep is a small part, really. There's lots of turf production and other things going on. George's grandfather actually started the Meatlinc breed, which George continues to farm with. He also founded started the Sheep Breeders Roundtable. So a long history of innovation in sheep in the family, and which you'll hear in today's podcast. We'll get underway with that one now. Welcome, George, to Head Shepherd.
Morning, Mark. How are you?
Good, mate. Evening here. We're on opposite ends of the day, but that's how it rolls across the world. Yeah, great to be catching up. Really excited to be over there in November. But before we start talking roundtable, it'd be nice to just hear a bit about your farming history there. You've been doing it for a while as a family, but I guess what you do there and I guess the sheep and then other aspects of the business.
Yeah, cheers, Mark. I farm in Yorkshire with my father. We have a range of companies here. We've been here farming on this farm since 1989, so a bit of a diverse mix really of farms. My grandfather was a first generation farmer after the war, set up farming, and he took tenancy of a 2,000 acre farm in North Lincolnshire, which was a very heavy, difficult to farm, heavy clayland farm that he drained grants through the government and things, which was very good back then. There was big support for food production, which is why he got into farming, really. And he needed sheep to try and farm this heavy land with cropping. He needed some way of adding organic matter in, get the soil working, all the rest of it. So he needed sheep, and he started off this sheep journey as a family. Back then, couldn't buy what he wanted because everything was overfed and no figures and everything. So being a non-farmer, he wanted performance, which is something that is not really, certainly back then was very new, I would say. Yeah. So we started off with that. And so he couldn't buy what he wanted. So he set about trying to create something that he wanted. So he took 5 breeds of sheep back then. He took the Suffolk, the Dorset, the Ile de France from France, the Berrichon from France, and the Charolais. Imported those 3 breeds into the UK and put them into a 5-family breeding programme that lasted for about 10 or 12 years before stabilising the breed. So that gave him what he wanted off the farm there, which was high performance. He was looking at, actually you go back to what a lot of people are talking now and what he was doing in the 60s and 70s. He was trying to run high stocking rates up to 20 ewes a hectare off rotationally grazing clover lays on a 3-year lay system before going back in with wheat and stuff. So I'm getting very good performance. And needed rams to match that. So he was a bit of an innovator in livestock and sheep back in the day. He actually wrote a book about intensive livestock sheep production, which did quite well back in the 70s. And actually, if you read it now, it's probably as relevant as anything else. So he was very much against subsidies and what we've had here for a long time in the UK as a real way that sort of stifled good, honest production, really. He was, he felt headage payments were probably one of the worst things that could ever happen. You paid someone to keep a sheep, even if it was productive or it wasn't. So it was a bit shocking for him, that. So we were doing that, and then at the same time, my father went and did a Nuffield scholarship. So he went to Australia and New Zealand looking at land marketing back in the early 80s. Happened across a farm that had a lot of sheep, and they also had a turf business growing lawn turf for various different markets. So he looked at that, came back home, we started growing turf. In 1989, we came out of that tenancy and purchased a farm up in Yorkshire, just south of York, which was in the Vale of York, which is very sandy, stone-free sand up here, perfect for growing turf. So we ramped up our turf growing operation, moved the sheep flock with us, and we have a system now where we grow turf on the good land and we grow grass for sheep and cattle on the stuff that's too heavy or not big enough fields and stuff. So we're not here because of the sheep, we're here because of our turf business. And that's grown considerably. So that's we produce about 1.5 million square metres of turf a year for the UK market, whether that be people's lawns, sports pitches. We did a lot of golf in the 90s. That grew to us developing a instant play, replaceable football pitch. So we did a lot of the Premiership football stadiums in the late 90s and early 2000s for rugby and football and things. And that has emerged into more we do a lot of corporate turf and events now for film studios, film premieres, big corporate events. We've got one going on in London this week, which we've done over the weekend for a relaunch of a perfume brand in London. So all this stuff is completely different to sheep farming. And it's not what a lot of people do, but it's very focused on innovation, and it's very focused on trying to be the best, produce a really good product. We have a name for ourselves in that, for doing that, really. And it kind of stems from where we started with sheep, probably, which was to do something very different to what everyone else was doing back in the day, to be innovative, to really set out what you want from your end product, really. Rich, he wanted fast-growing lambs back then. He wanted sheep that did stuff themselves. He wanted figures and performance. He wanted to know. And we do everything, so we innovated, and we were the first people to start recording with Signet or MLC as it was back in the day, whether that be the ultrasound scanning using blood analysis. That subsequently moved into, CT scanning and everything else that's come along since. So we're that sort of business. I like to think anyway, a good team of people. We've got 30 members of staff on farm, which is considerable here. And so the sheep make up here about 550 ewes we lamb here of the pedigree Meatlincs, and we also lamb about 150 ewe lambs, hogs, so about 700 in total. We run a dairy beef operation here, which we're just expanding. So we've just entered into an agreement with one of the major retailers to go on their integrated supply chain to push numbers to about 300 head of dairy Angus beef a year.
So they turn up as sort of weaned calves, and then you take them from there, or they turn up as calves?
Yeah, they turn up. We have been operating a system turn up as buying as calves all off one farm, but the price of the calves has gone through the roof. The beef price has dropped. So that's not a very good equation, really. So by locking in with a retailer, it's enabled us to set the price of when we buy those calves. So when we buy those calves, we'll get an end price. There's a bonus for killing at a certain weight and at a certain age. So they want younger cattle at a certain weight to fit pack sizes, and they're paying a premium for that. So that kind of suits what we can do here quite well in amongst the sheep, and maximising utilisation of staff and stuff. We're expanding that sheep. Everything's up in the air around here, I suppose. We used to lamb a lot more sheep. We used to probably lamb 1,500 ewes. We suffer a bit with drought here over in the east of the country. We might be sort of 25 inch of rainfall, but most of that comes in the winter. So we are very dry. We're in a bit of a rain shadow. So if you compare us to, if you were to drive an hour or so west from here, you'd probably double that rainfall, I think. So it's very different. So what we actually do on a lot of this light sandy soil is it's great for growing turnips and cover crops. So we actually, instead of lambing ewes, we will buy in or we'll take in store lambs, and we finish them on a joint venture system with a couple of farmers, where we share the costs and share the profits of those store lambs. So just spreads everybody's risk a bit on that. But yeah, we have a lot of feed here over winter on some light sandy soils that that don't get boggy and don't get wet. So it enables us really well to finish lambs on turnips, and they do pretty well.
Yeah, right. Two things I didn't think were a feature of the UK was sandy soils and drought, but I'm learning as we go. I grew up on very much sandy soil and drought, but we had 12-inch rainfall, so I think we probably win on the drought front. But
we had no rain last year for 6 months, so
okay, that's a drought. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we pumped over 300,000 cubic meters of water onto the turf last summer, so which comes at a cost. So it's we can be droughty, and we seem to be getting drier, hotter summers, and we seem to be getting wetter winters. So adapted our sheep system to suit that a bit, really. So ewes will spend their winter on fodder crops as well, because a lot of the ground we have here is too wet to run sheep on over winter. It's flat and heavy and wet. So very strange soil around here. You can go from really heavy clay land that's almost blue, and you can go 100 yards and you've got blow-away sand. So it's plain sand over clay. So where the sand is there, it's fantastic soil for growing turf and things, but it's absolute rubbish for growing wheat and barley and things. But so there's a lot of turf grown in the area, a lot of potatoes, a lot of carrots. Biggest carrot grower around here, one of the biggest carrot growers in the country is around here. He's grows about 1,000 acres of carrots. A lot of other root vegetable crops grow around here, and a lot of maize and things for AD plants and also a bit of animal feed. But AD plants, anaerobic digesting plants, is a big thing around here at the moment, and certainly down the east of the country where you can grow a lot of maize on lighter, sandier, more drought-prone soils, really. So we are a very different country. You can head to 2 hours, which you might... have you ever been over here, Mark, or not? Or, no?
I did a couple of weeks, but I was young and probably have no real recollection of where we went. But
it is, it changes very quickly. We're a small island, but it's it certainly does change, and we won't get year-round growth here, but you go over to the west coast where they get more of the influence of the jet stream, and they will keep warmer a lot all winter and grow grass all winter. So we really have to sort of work our way around that and find a system that suits. But so it's managing what we have here. We wouldn't aim to set up a sheep breeding unit here in this sort of area of the country, really, but we're here because of our turf business and things. So that's what we do. We've got a chicken unit as well, so we built a free-range hen laying unit about 9 years ago. Just trying to expand that now up to our maximum of 40,000 hens. So that's a good cash crop. It's a regular earner. The egg price went through the roof increased by about 60%, about 60-70% about 3 years ago. So while we had bird flu, which is not very pleasant, we had that sort of 3.5 years ago. Got over that, and we've had a good egg price since. So we would like to put up another 32,000 bird unit, but we have ridiculous environmental legislation laws here as well, which is probably what you're seeing over there. We're within a 5-kilometre radius of some very valuable moss, which doesn't like ammonia. So it's very important that the moss and the lichen on that area is maintained, apparently. So seemingly expensive food production, but we could always eat some moss instead of some eggs.
Must be good moss.
Yeah, it must be amazing, mustn't it? Really. That's our sort of farming system. Pretty integrated. We like to think we're quite innovative in what we've done. Started off with sheep and how grandfather used to farm back in the day. We've transferred that into the turf business, and we tend to do a lot of stuff with that. Is all our own thinking, and when you've got a really good team that are really keen to improve and stuff, it's pretty good. So I've got a good management structure underneath us here, four-man management team that sort of look after the business. I'm not a great office person, Mark. I don't like being sat in an office. I would much rather have other guys that want to do that and want to drive those areas of the business, and believe it or not, I'd rather be outside drenching lambs or fencing or sorting stock rather than sat in an office. So, I've tended much more than my father would love to sit in an office all day, and that's what he's done for 40 years. I'm not sort of that person. I don't have that patience and stuff. So it's about setting the job up. People do the stuff that they want to do, and I actually get to go off and do the bits that I want to do, which I suppose that's a big side of the business at Terso, and we do lots of big projects for a lot of tough customers and a lot of wealthy people in London and stuff like we're doing this weekend. At the heart of it, I'm a stockman and I like working stock. So, the other bits probably make me more money, but that's the way it is. We've got this Meatlinc sheep breed, which is this composite. It's never been fed any concentrated food. It's done everything off grass. It's always been performance recorded. It's always been lambed in the spring and not at Christmas when in the middle of winter and fed on a hopper. And we're a relatively small group of sheep, really. The breed's about 800 ewes or something.
So there's a few people buy rams, or they're only, like you're the only people with Meatlinc, or there's a couple of other breeders?
Yeah, there's another 3 people in the UK that produce for us. Got a few flocks, so we work as a team between us, swapping genetics and things. And our rate of improvement is pretty good based on that basis that it's a small group of people with a very specific goal. And that makes a big difference. And our rate of gain is quicker than anyone else's because they've got large organisations and some people are going in certain directions and some people in others. So, and not afraid to change things. We got a big Innovate UK grant back in 2012 where we got a heap of money from the government it was a gene pool fishing exercise by outcrossing and backcrossing. So we took 5 top Texel sires and 5 top Charolais sires and a Suffolk, and we crossed those back into the Meatlinc in a crossing programme. We CT scanned over 400 animals as part of that trial, which was really good. CT is really good thing for us. Amazing what you can find out, and the spread of that. And I think in what we scanned, there was just off the CT, there was some animals had 19 vertebrae and some had 21. So it's a decent variance there, really, off a fairly small number. 70 mil difference in length of carcass and things. So, we were able to pull some really good data off that. And we are a composite effectively, and I'm not afraid to go out there and pick some of the best genetics and put them back into the programme and see what happens. As a result of that programme, we had a ram that was 1/16 Charolais, 1/16 Texel, 1/8 Suffolk, and the rest Meatlinc. Put him onto the Ram Compare, which is the progeny trial here that Signet run here, and he came top on that for growth rate. So, from quite a small breed, that's pretty, versus all the other big breeds in the UK. It's a very targeted breeding programme based on grass and grass only. That was grandfather's aim from the start, was to produce something that performs, measure it, and all the rest of it. We've since added some other genetics in since. We did try a bit of New Zealand Suftex, a bit of New Zealand Texel have gone in since. About 3 or 4 years ago, we purchased the 4th highest index Texel ram in the UK from a very good breeder who breeds along the same lines as we do. Put him into the mix, and he's found a couple of good lambs, and seeing how they're doing. Went a little bit crazy this spring, and I added a couple of Hampshires in, so high index Hampshires that we put in. So which we've termed meat hampers. So we're really looking. Hampshires are over here are doing quite well. They've done well on the Ram Compare on the progeny trial. They are all very well recorded. A very high proportion of the Hampshires are all recorded. They're easy of lambing, they're good growth rates and things. So they look completely different to us. My grandfather was fairly stubborn, so he said, what the sheep looks like should never matter, but it matters hugely over here in the UK. They want everything to have a tight fleece and a really white face and all the rest of it. So adding a Hampshire back into the mix goes against what I suppose have been trying to tidy up in the last few years to get back to what that. I suppose the live markets are big over here, and what that market wants. It's all done on how the animal looks and not necessarily on, how it performs, and which is a shame for somewhere like us with the Meatlinc, where we've put a lot of effort into carcass traits and things, and a lot of effort into CT and ultrasound scanning. So we do have some of the best ultrasound depths that you'll get. Particularly, I think a lot of that has come down to being grass fed, and for years we have ultrasound scanned animals at about kill weight, because that's what they've been at 16 to 20 weeks of age, whereas a lot of guys have pushed animals hard on feed and scanned at 20 weeks of age at 80, 90 kilos. Well, the amount of eye muscles they've got then is pretty irrelevant, really.
Yeah.
We get excited about an animal that's weighing 40 to 45 kilos, got 35 millimeters plus of eye muscle.
Yeah, that'd be exciting. Yep.
Yeah. I think the best we've had is I did have one animal that scanned 39 kilos with 37 millimeters of eye muscle. So, that's quite a twin-born lamb. So it's a good depth, and that then feeds through to something that weighs better and kills out better. And the live market doesn't always reward you for that here in the UK, which is a shame. So we will. A lot of our customers will go dead and see the benefits of a fast-growing lamb that hits target weight pretty quick and kills well. So it's exciting. It's not a major part of my business, but it's a real interest for me. Sheep breeding is quite an interest, and I find it quite exciting. I do have good customers that are pretty loyal and see what we're doing. This 2025 ram compare results, we had that fastest. We had one ram on that, and he came highest for growth rate and second for eye muscle. Fastest progeny. So again, it still thinks that we're, for a small breed with not a lot of thing, with the right breeding aims and targets and the right way of operating, you can compete quite well and offer your ram customers what they want in terms of, key performance indicators, really. So.
Yeah, cool. I'm going to go into turf for 2 seconds, and we're going right into sheep again. But how do you? My brain's just been turning over. How you have a Premier League pitch that you can drop into spot without? I'm just thinking that any turf business I've seen is like half-metre strips that take about 6 months to sort of settle down. How does lifting a whole turf go?
Yeah, when we used to do that, we used to import a layer of sand and lay that down, and then on top of that, we'd import sand that's incorporated with microfibers. About 40 mil depth of that, and then we'd lay that down, and then we'd grow into that.
Yeah, and
then that would bind around that, and we would harvest that with a 52-inch wide harvester, 8 square meters per roll, weighing just under a ton per roll, so they can't be moved. So when you've got 16 lads going at it in Millennium Stadium, the Welsh one, which we used to have a 4-pitch-year contract with them, it wouldn't peel up, and so that worked pretty well. So we could drop a pitch in within 3 days, replace a pitch within 3 days. Well, lay it within 3 days. We could. The best turnaround we had, I think, at the Millennium Stadium was they had the Rugby League Challenge Cup final on the Saturday. Our subcontractors went in there straight after the game, pulled the old pitch up, and we had a new one laid for the FA Cup final by the following Saturday. So yeah. But then these guys got better at growing pitches, and they used the lighting rigs, which enabled them to grow the turf over winter with very high level intense light. So things shift. Markets shift all the time. And that's what we did then, and we shifted now into producing a wildflower turf. So we grow wildflowers onto 100% plastic-free biodegradable mat. Put compost on top, and then grow the seed in, so it establishes without any competition, and then we sell those mats out to all sorts of applications. Whether particularly over here, we've got all this biodiversity net gain, which is a thing for developments where they've got to increase biodiversity. So we can sell them a wildflower meadow, which they can lay down, and 6 weeks later they'll have a full flower.
Biodiversity. Yeah.
So do all that, and then the corporate turfing thing was, again, we wash the soil off the normal turf, and we grow that onto it's a patented project we've got. We grow that onto a felt, plastic-free, recycled textile felt mat. And then it's completely soil-free, and then we can use that for any application. So we can put that into film studios for 5 or 6 weeks, and it will just carry on growing while they film on it. We can use it in Leicester Square for film premieres for all the big major films that are produced, and make it look amazing and things. Believe it or not, Mark, we produce a piddle patch, which is something that probably for your Kiwi listeners will be absolutely, and Australian ones will be just mind-boggling. But we put a third of a square metre of this wild grass, as we call it, or grass felt, into a box, and we sell it to people as a green litter tray. So they'll put it on their balcony or in their apartment for their dog or their cat to wee on. It's completely crackers. It's not our company, but we have the patent on the product. So this soil-free grass mat that can go into somebody's house or onto their balcony in London or whatever. They're on a subscription service, so they either have a new one every fortnight or every month. And we do about 2,000 a month of those piddle patches, as they're called. So, it's crazy. DPD, the courier service, turn up here 3 times a week and pick up the boxes, and they get delivered. So that's another quite
supply and demand. It's the
that's it, isn't it? You do operate on a system where. And it's how we've got into sort of film markets and everything else. If people have got a problem and you come up with a solution, and you go in there and you deliver for them, and they go, "Oh wow, that looks amazing," and then they tell, particularly in stuff like film and stuff and all the corporate event stuff, everybody knows each other, so they go, "Wow, we use this guy." I suppose you've got to think outside the box a bit. Normal producers over here are struggling a bit. The housing market's fallen away. The economy's not great, so. But we have this broad range of products. Selling cheap and low price stuff is not where we operate at. We operate in a space that's above. Yeah. So ours will be a higher grade quality turf, and we charge for it. I'm not interested in selling cheap crap to people that I lose money on. So not interested in that at all. We'd much rather aim at a slightly smaller market, but make more money out of it. And the team buy into that, and it's pretty good as well. It's they know we actually ran out of turf this winter, so we had to buy some in, and the quality was pretty average. And it was a good exercise not only for our staff to go, this is why we do it the way we do it, and this is why we put the effort in, but also for our customers that go, bloody hell, where's this from? This is rubbish. And we're going, well, that's the competitor down the road. This is why we charge you a bit more, because you're on some good stuff. So, it was an expensive mistake to run out, but the drought last year really affected turf production. Completely different place here at the moment. It won't stop raining, so we're getting regular rainfall. The irrigators haven't going so much, and all the new seed turf looks fantastic. So stuff we've drilled this spring in April, we could potentially harvest in sort of October, November time. So it's an interesting business. It's and it keeps us very much busy, let's say. So
obviously a strong history of innovation with your grandfather starting performance breeding before many had thought of the concept. And obviously following through to innovation on all sorts of aspects. We should move on to the Street Breeders Roundtable. How did you ended up involved? How did you end up chair? And I guess, and what is it, I suppose, for those who aren't familiar, and then we'll get on to why all those listening in the UK need to turn up.
Yeah, well, it's a conference that's based mostly around sheep genetics and sheep production in the UK, and it's a biannual conference that happens every other year in the autumn. Believe it or not, it was started by my grandfather years and years ago, and he was the chair for a long time before handing over the reins to a couple of other people. So, so we meet biannually. We try and get a good mix of throughout the conference of latest developments in research, as well as practical on-farm stuff and what's happening, and also a bit of a retailer aim as well, if we can as well, to see where the market. So. Yeah, it's a 3-day. It's a Friday lunchtime through to a Sunday lunchtime over the weekend. It's quite a good social. We aim to get 100 to 150 delegates there, from whether they be academics, industry, and breeders and farmers, really. So to help to try and make everyone aware what's out there and what's going on at the moment. The last conference, there was a good paper on MV resistance, made of Visna resistance, and the genes how we test for that and things. They're actually coming back to, that's 2 years since that was sort of brought to the fore. They've gone away and obviously done quite a bit of work in that area in the last 2 years, so it'll be a good update on that. There was an amazing paper on surrogate sires, last which blew people's mind. Inputting the whatever the T cells, whatever they were, from your high performance ram into the testicles of other rams to produce surrogate males, surrogate sires.
Does that work? Or I mean, I've heard of the concept, but does it actually have it working? Or
yes, there was a paper to say it was well, it was in its infancy, but it was working as far as I remember. So that's sort of mind blowing for a lot of people about how that might work in the future if you could take your top performing ram and put his DNA and genetics into 100 other low performance rams to then natural service all your use. So as well as good, we've got a whole thing on this year quite relevant on to shed or not to shed. So, we've got guys who are for shedding and guys who are against shedding, which is always a fair debate. I think it's a debate that's raging around the world, probably. It's happening in New Zealand, isn't it? It's happening in Australia. The wool price is coming back up again. So there'll be some at the moment that go in, it's worth more money. And, this is a high value natural fibre. And, if it's valued properly, it should work. Some people love shedders, some people hate them. So there's a real mix of what's going on in the UK. We're trying a few. We've crossed a few into the Meatlincs here on our hogs, actually, just to try and build our own shedder because we've got a lot of solar panels coming in the area. So I ideally want a wool shedder to go into the solar panels just to produce a lamb of some sort. There's up to 7,000 acres of solar panels going in the area. So it's, so anyway. So there's a broad range of what goes on. Let's say 2-day conference. And I sort of, I got pulled onto the committee about 3 or 4 years ago. Applied, invited on to have my 2 pennies worth. The chair at the time said, I'll do the conference for a few more years and then you can take over, George. So I thought, that's all right, give me a good run into it. Very unfortunately, Charles, who was a great stalwart of the industry, big Charolais breeder, unfortunately he died just shortly before the last conference. So the mantle was handed over to me. So a bit earlier than I planned, but yeah, that's fine. It's a good thing to get stuck into, really. Good committee. Added some more people to the committee, which is good. Plenty of ideas and to produce, hopefully, a really good conference that people want to come to, really. But we have this, a lot of people at the conference see the benefit of genetics, and we certainly do. The lamb price here at the moment is off the scale. Yeah. Spoke to a customer last week who was killing lambs on the hook for £9.50 a kilo.
Yeah. So, don't ever want to do that multiplication. That's a big number. Yeah.
So you're probably talking $20 a kilo, which I don't know what the price in NZ is at the moment, but it won't be.
Sort of not that high anyway. 11 to 12 or 11 probably. 10 to 12. Yeah.
So we're way above where we were. Some lambs in the livestock market fetching in excess of £300, I thought, last week. So a lamb, $600-700, which is, it's mostly been driven by the ethnic market here in the UK, which is growing, and they're wanting lamb and eating a lot of lamb. So, which is good. It does create, I think it creates a bit of a challenge for, I sell more rams out of my business when times are harder because people are really looking at how they could be more efficient. Certainly Brexit was, I picked up some really good customers there because they were all told that there'll be no exports anymore. No one would buy British lamb anywhere in Europe and things, and we'd be overrun, and it would be a disaster for lamb price. In actual fact, the lamb price went up, but in that short, because of other factors, obviously. But people come on and go, we've got to do the job cheaper, and we need genetics, and we need to think about going outdoor lambing, or we need to more growth off grass or whatever. So they come to me for that ease of lambing, grass-based genetics, and those people have actually ended up really well because, as one of them said to me, I've cut my costs and my lamb price has gone up. So but there's still this very traditional end of the UK market. I think it is changing, but very slowly, and or probably doesn't help when the lamb price is higher because people can go, well, I'm making money, so I might as well lamb them indoors because they're worth a lot of money. I might as well feed a lot of concentrate feed to them because they are worth a lot of money and things. So the focus flips from efficiency And a lot of farmers probably think, oh, we're making money, so we're fine. Do we need to, but, and then there's those farmers out there that go, yeah, we're making money, but if we could make more, that would be even better. So those are the guys that we all squabble to as performance recording breeders. So we're fighting for those commercial customers, really. There has been more people, which has been good. It's been good, really. But yeah, just trying to, and so, the part that you're doing the conference, Mark, to sort of come over and look at a few people who run businesses and commercial is what for listeners in the UK, of what we're trying to do. Well, I don't know, do you want to say, Mark, what you're hoping to come over and do and things?
Well, I guess, yeah, great opportunity to get a look around, obviously. And yeah, so I think we're going on to, is it 2 or 3 farms that will be selected to go and sort of, I guess, understand, firstly, get an idea of the market conditions, the challenges, the disease, that sort of stuff. And then I guess go to the conference with some thoughts around what's going well, what could be better, and yeah, I guess some external opinion on how best to apply the principles of genetic gain to those businesses that we get a look at. So yeah, looking forward to. Yeah, I guess it's kind of easy to sit thousands and thousands of kilometres away and make idea or come up with ideas about what should be better, but it's a lot easier to actually get on farm and see what's going on and see what could be better, or what how things are being applied and within the system and within the I guess the constraints that everyone farms under. So yeah, it's going to be great, and obviously that opportunity to catch up over 3 days with lots of breeders and people in the industry talking sheep, which is obviously my favourite subject. So yeah, it'll be quite good. It'll be very good.
Yeah, I think that was it. I think we wanted it's just this, like I say, we know the benefits, getting the benefits out there to the wider people of genetic recording and trade selection, and using all the tools that are available to you in your sheep business, really. So it was, we as the committee came up with this concept that we could bring Mark over to the UK. We could have put a bit of a competition together, or a bit of an application for people to apply to be one of the 3 farmers, ideally looking for two breeders that are wanting to grow their business or expand their business, and then also somebody who's a big commercial user of performance recorded rams, or wants to use performance recorded rams, should we say, move into that space, whether it be maternal and terminal sire genetics. And leading up to the conference, me and Mark will have a tour around those farms, hopefully, and have a look at them and meet with the guys and a discussion and see what their farm business is, with the aim that hopefully these guys will come to the conference and Mark will be able to have a session with them about what he's found out, and about their businesses, and have a talk through it and some suggestions potentially, or just an open chat, really, of where they can take their businesses to, and yeah, I think it's just has the potential to bring something, and so Mark will be doing that section for us, but also he'll be there at the conference for 2 days to catch up with people and see what we're doing here in the UK, which I hope you'll find really interesting, Mark.
Yeah, for sure. You have to get me early because I like to get a bit early, so that'd be...
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that don't go to bed very early at the conference, so the hotel do like the cheap Brits turning up because it's good for their bar takes. There's plenty of early morning chat going, particularly when you get a few lads that have come from Scotland and stuff and don't get out very much. So
that's my kind of early, so that'd be good.
Yeah. So yeah, so it is a good conference. It is a good social conference. I think we all haul up in a hotel for a couple of days and get to grips with a lot of things that are going on, and things. And it was just trying to do something a bit different and bring not just someone's perspective from New Zealand to come over and say what you do in New Zealand, but actually come over and get involved with a couple of farmers and nail down into their businesses and see what they're doing, and see what their aspirations are, and see what their problems are, and opportunities are for their business, probably, and try and deliver that to people as a way of showing what's possible with genetics in the UK flock. And yeah, I think there's, like I said earlier, there's yes, land price is good, but if the land price is up and you've got a better, and your costs are dropping and your performance or your cost of your performance is improving, that's a win-win. And people should definitely be looking at that. Because all these things add up, don't they? And I don't think, we could soon be back down to £6 a kilo, when this sort of blip disappears. When I started sheep farming and when I came back from college, we were nearer £2.50 a kilo. So, we can't ever go back to those days, with the costs that are involved. But, I think we saw it in the beef. We saw the beef hit £7 plus a kilo. We're now under 6. So, and the store prices of cattle is still high and stuff. So, as I said, for our own business on what we're doing there, we've just tried to mitigate some risk in the beef market when everyone's getting a bit carried away. So a guaranteed price at the end helps, and that isn't really there in the lamb market. It's the dairy beef job is getting very integrated, and it's hard to integrate within the sheep market, really. So we would. Hopefully we'll get a lot out of it. Hopefully we'll, Mark. Hopefully the delegates will, and hopefully the 3 farmers that we identify to do some stuff with will get a lot out of it as well, really. So,
No, I think really looking forward. It's going to be a great few days, and particularly, I guess, that lead up to it with you having a look around. That's going to be fantastic. So we, bring on November.
Well, that's it, isn't it? It seems a long way away at the moment, but it's probably not that far away, is it? So. We're heading through summer here quite quickly, which, sheep are growing and there's plenty of grass. So versus this time last year where there wasn't anything and we were selling all the cattle out just because there was no grass, so we're trading all the dairy crosses off because there was nothing for them to eat. It's amazing how things change around year to year. Managing that is an issue, isn't it, really? So,
Well, I think we got, 300 odd listeners in the UK on Head Shepherd, or maybe a few more than that. But so if people do want to turn up, what's best to go to the website, or what's best to do? Yeah,
there's a website that you can access through. You can get to the website through all the levy board pages and also the National Sheep Association page. So if you just search Sheep Breeders Roundtable Conference 2026, there's go on there and have a look at the programme. There's a programme, full list of the programme and who's speaking, what the topics are, and there's also an online booking platform on there where you can book your place in. So you can come for as little as just a couple of during the day, or you can stay, or you can come for the meals. So we've been extremely well sponsored by a number of sponsors through there, so go check those out. Really, the sponsors really help us to put on these events, keep the costs down for the delegates, and make it a worthwhile couple of days. A good, hopefully it'll be a good investment. Hopefully you'll enjoy it and learn a bit about not what's coming up and what's happening going forward. Really, keep everyone abreast with the technological aspects and the innovation that's going on in sheep breeding, as well as some practical stuff, hopefully for their own businesses and things. So that's where we're
Excellent.
at.
Right.
And a couple of days. So.
And to put the name in the hat for the opportunity to make us some scones,
that's been sent. That will be on there as well. There'll be a link through to that as well. We link through the levy boards and through the NSA as well on that. So, and keep a lookout for the shows as well this year. Failing that, people can email me directly as well and we can get George Fell at meatlinc.co.uk and we can get some sustenance sent out to you. But you should better find it all on there.
Awesome.
So whether you go through the QMS, the HCC, or the AHDB websites and the NSA, the application form is on there for those guys that can make a good cup of tea for a Kiwi. Yeah. So, our aim is to, the 3 days before the conference is go on a bit of a UK trip with me and Mark, and just visit some farms, see what they're doing, chew the fat with a few people, and bring something back to the conference which I hope will benefit the people that apply for that. Benefit Mark, hopefully, because he'll get a bit more of a handle what goes on in the UK here, and benefit everyone at the conference. So they'll, hopefully it should be a win-win for everyone, really. So
excellent. No, looking forward to George. Thanks very much for your time this morning, and really looking forward to shaking your hand in person and having a look around and getting along to the Sheep Breeders Roundtable. We'll put a few of those links in the show notes so that people can be one click away. But really looking forward to it, mate. We'll see you there.
Yeah, cool. Thanks very much, Mark. It's been super.
Thanks, George. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.
Thanks for listening, and thanks again to our 3 fantastic sponsors. Heinegger, who are proud world leaders in the manufacturing and supply of professional sheep shearing and clipping equipment. Allflex Livestock Intelligence, part of MSD Animal Health, offer extensive livestock product portfolio focused on animal health management, all backed up by exceptional service. ProWay Livestock Equipment offer turnkey solutions from design through to professional installation and specialise in facilities that are tailored to your specific operation for all livestock species. We thank these 3 great companies for their ongoing support of the Head Shepherd podcast.